friends. Welcome to Lean and Clean with Fitness Chef Christine. I'm Christine, your host, and today I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Melissa Rohlfs, and she is a holistic health coach and life coach. So I would love to hear you take it away. Tell me your backstory. Tell me how you got involved in what you're doing, all that good stuff.
Sure, I never thought I would be doing this. So let me just put that disclaimer out there.
Life is
Um,
away.
totally. I think for me, my journey began when I became a mom. I had a very tumultuous history with food. As I say, I was like a little girl and hiding cookies and candies and Pop-Tarts and candies and just lots of sweet treats in my room because food became a comfort for me at a very young age. And so that continued throughout middle school into high school. I went to the other end of the spectrum with, oh, I need to have a date for prom and I need to have a boyfriend. So I'm going to starve myself in order to lose weight. So went that way. Yes. And I had a mom who did all the diet. So I was seeing this enforced in the home. No fault to her, of course.
Those two, and I was one of those. History repeating itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So then went through college, got married, had kids, and finally was just like, I don't love this motherhood thing. I've got a newborn. He's not sleeping through the night. I'm exhausted. Our daughter had some undiagnosed food allergies and sensory processing disorder. My husband was traveling for work. I was exhausted, not very happy. And there has to be more to this motherhood thing. Sought out a life coach, and turns out she was also a licensed clinical social worker. So she was able to diagnose me with PTSD from childhood trauma, which I had never been on my radar, never saw it coming. I had been in therapy before, it never came up, but she was able to diagnose me with that, and it was correct. So I tried the traditional route of medicine. It didn't work. So then that led me to pursue a naturopath and learning all about the impact of food on mood, on overall health and energy and mental health. And that was so life changing for me, and just changing our diet with our daughter's food allergies, that I was like, I have to do this. So I went to school and here I am.
What an amazing story. You took something that was a struggle and you made it into something helping other people. I think that is really, really amazing, really. And I know that you help teen girls all the way through to you get to my age or greater. But I think it's important for teen girls to have that support. I wish I'd had it when I was a teen girl. I came from a family who's very critical of weight. And my brother was super skinny and he was much taller than me. And I was short and stocky. And no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. And my parents were like, you just need smaller portions. You just need to go to Weight Watchers. You just need to. And it was so much pressure that I would go through periods, starve myself, the whole up and down. And then as I got into motherhood, I still felt that way. I owned a bakery. I was fine while I was working all the time. I was working it all off. As soon as I stopped doing that, all the weight came on and I freaked out. All the diets, back to Weight Watchers, back to all the yo-yos. And my poor kids, I totally messed them up that way because I didn't know this stuff myself until years later when I finally took all the classes and I finally got educated and felt confident. But that's why I think you starting with somebody who's a teen is so flippin' important. Oh my goodness. My daughter owns a theater and there's so many teenagers that could really use your help. They're either starving themselves or they're eating everything. So
And I think that's the hard part. And it's so funny because the kids, like, teens were not on my radar. Originally, I was like, I'm going to do this with moms because if a mom can get this, then she can teach her kids. But
mhm.
it wasn't really working that way, Christine. It was like the mom was doing it for herself, but then she was still feeding her family different things. And I'm like, there's the disconnect there. So then I feel like God just put some teenage girls in my lap, and I'm like, I'll try coaching them and see how it goes. And I really liked it. And so that's why I'm doing both now. And the teens are cool because they like share it with their parents, and then it helps their parents change. I think parents are almost more likely to change for their kids than they are themselves.
I think that's a good point. Also, I think that you're empowering a next generation. So when they have kids, they'll come into it with a healthy mindset and a healthy boundaries and all that stuff. So really you're doing a great service. And like I said, I wish I had that when I was younger and I wish my kid had that. I took my kids to a nutritionist and they showed them a plate and they divided it up and said, this is how much. And that did not really help at all. And God, the woman was not incorrect. It was just boring. And they were like, yeah, whatever. And just learning from somebody who works with teens on a regular basis. And I do think you're right. I think the teen can influence the parents more. Like, who listens to their parents when they're a teenager? No one. Our parents are dumb when we're teenagers. So really, they have an opportunity to really teach their parents, hey, there's a better way. No, and when I was on Weight Watchers, I was like, la la, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it was just a lifetime of back and forth. So did you start out with adults and then move to teens, or did you mix and match?
Started out with adults. And then it was so funny because it was like 2 summers ago. A friend, we moved quite a few times in one of the cities we had lived in. She reached out and she said, would you be willing to talk to my niece? And I'm like, sure, I'll try. And so connected with her and she said, oh, she wants to try coaching with you. I'm like, okay, that's great. And then 2 weeks later, I had another mom say, would you work with my daughter? And I'm like, okay, great. So then I felt led to work with teens. So yeah,
You know,
not on my radar at all.
sometimes we have a vision of what we're being called to do, and sometimes God's like, yeah, I don't think so. I wanted this. So I think that's amazing. And do you have boys or girls
I
yourself?
want a beach.
Okay. Okay. And have they been receptive to what you teach and what you do?
Yeah, the girl more than the boy, bless her. The our son, yeah, he's very much me. And so I can't say too much. But yes, our girl has been very, very receptive. I see her implementing with her friends. And even our son, like he takes a pepper in his lunch. Yes, they're both receptive. I'll stop dogging him.
I get it. I have one of each as well. And the funny thing is, they're completely opposite personalities. So
Yep.
amazing. So my son is 6'4", my daughter's 5'4", and they're just completely opposite personalities. She's super
Mhm.
go-getter, vivacious. He's very laid back. It's just crazy. I think,
Yep.
oh my, the mom of both of them? How'd that happen? You know? Now, I'm assuming you coach online as well as in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of it's online, actually.
I love that. And is it group or is it individual?
It's individual. I started to do group, but I feel like with this, people, it's a vulnerable subject and they don't really want to dish all that with a group. So I would love to do group if people wanted to do that, but I think it would need to be the right dynamic of people. So for now, it's primarily been one-on-one.
It sure is hard to share. I've done lots of both, and it is hard to share. Now, I'm an open book because I'm a talker. So for me,
Yep.
it's not a problem, but I haven't worked with clients for a long time. I know nobody really wants to share all their struggles. Everybody wants to share their wins, but nobody really wants to share their struggles. You get the overshare people and then the people that just don't respond. And then you're like, what? I love that you're doing that. And if you could, for people listening, can you just give them maybe just a quick couple things that they can maybe get their mindset going in the right direction?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing that I see is that we believe that it's one size fits all and that I have to eat a certain way and I have to follow this plan and I have to like do all these things and you don't. Like you are your own best health expert, you know your body best. We just haven't been taught how to listen to them. I mean, we
True.
know like when we need to go to the bathroom and we'll listen to that, but when it comes to honoring hunger and fullness, we negate that. And so I think just start to listen to your body, settle down, get quiet, learn to identify how does my body tell me when it's hungry, how does it tell me when it's full, and honor that. I think that's the main thing. And just listen to the type of foods that energize you. There's foods that give you energy and make you feel amazing. And there's foods that maybe deplete your energy and don't make you feel amazing. It doesn't mean they're good or bad or right or wrong, like diet cultures led us to believe. It's just foods that work for you or work against you. So I think listening to your body is a very important thing. I think the other thing, excuse me, is to replace judgment with curiosity. It's really easy to get hard on ourselves and judge ourselves and criticize ourselves. But if we could just stop that and ask, what do I need right now? Or what am I looking for? That's going to be a powerful indicator of what we really need instead of just beating ourselves up.
Love that. So replace judgment with curiosity. I really like that concept. That's really awesome. And I'm sure that fosters more of a positive relationship with food because you're right. You can go, oh, this is bad for me and this is good for me. And after a while, you're like, okay, nothing's happening. I'm just going to not care anymore. And then you go back to the way you are. And then it all starts all over again. And so I know for lots of people that I've worked with, it's if they're not seeing the changes, they lose the motivation. But if you're constantly curious as to what's happening and why you would do this, and you constantly listen to those cues, I really could see that's a nice long-term way of thinking of things. I really like that. Well done.
Thank you. And I think it transfers too into life. Like if you see somebody posting on social media and you don't agree with them, instead of judging it, get curious. Well, I wonder why I think that way. It can be really beautiful when you take it off of yourself and put it out into the world too. I think it would change a lot.
Social media, have you found that a lot of teens or even teen to mid 20s, whatever, are really influenced by social media? Because I know for me, even just flipping through, you do see a lot of stuff out there. I'm like, oh, I was younger, that would really drive me crazy. I'm old enough to be like, who cares? But
Yeah, it's interesting because I think it affects some people differently than others. And I think part of that too is what are you taking in? Like
Mhm.
with our daughter, I encourage her to curate her newsfeed, like follow people that are inspiring and they're motivational and that are giving you good, healthy recipes, and don't follow maybe some of the popular trends and the things that are out there. So I think it's partially what you're taking in. I do think it has an impact. That obviously wasn't a thing when I was a kid, but we had the magazines, and I know 17 and Vogue and Cosmo, those influenced me. So I don't know how we can say that social media hasn't replaced that,
Yeah,
isn't
no, I agree with you.
impacting.
The only thing I would say is that I think social media has more of an interactive. You look at 17 magazine, I would flip through it quick and then I'd be like, okay. And then I pick up the next one. But whereas social media is so interactive, you can comment on somebody's body, people can comment on your body. I post a lot of cooking videos and a lot of different things, and people could say crazy things. They'll comment, you need to lose 30 pounds, healthy recipe. Oh, thanks. Great to talk to you. But it does have a negative sort of effect on you. And like I said, I got to an age where I'm like, okay. In that little mind, you get that little negativity thinking, "Hmm, maybe they're right. Maybe I. So I just imagine that if you're young and impressionable and you're not feeling particularly great about yourself, that can really do a lot of damage. But
Absolutely. And to your point, it is interactive and people aren't nice. It's easy to be a keyboard warrior when we're not face to face with somebody. We miss that humanity.
yeah, definitely. So how long are your programs? So do you tailor them to the person? So you just work with them until you feel like they're ready to move on, or 6 weeks, 12 weeks?
Yeah, the baseline is 12 weeks because that just really lays a solid foundation of changing habits and creating new ones. And then if people feel led or want to do more after, that's always an option, but usually it's about 12 weeks.
Okay. And I know you sent me some material, but can you tell me, do you have a Facebook group? Do you have a way for people to contact you and join you and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I sure do. I have a Facebook group. It's called Finding Freedom from the Struggle with Food or Finding Freedom from the Food Struggle. I always get those mixed up. It's something like that.
I
You probably have the link.
have it here somewhere, but yes.
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna put notes for everybody looking for it. So you can always look below the video and below the podcast and you will see it there. So you don't have to search. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Listen, I am all about those hyperlinks. Give me the way to easy get there. And then,
Easy is the way to go.
yes, and you gave me your email address. So I also put that in the show notes. Anything else you want to share? Anything that you want to put out there? I'm always looking for people to connect people together.
And no, thank you for for having me and thank you for your time. And I appreciate being a guest and being able to share. And I just want people to know they don't have to stay stuck. Like it's so easy to think, oh, it's always been this way. My mom struggled with this, my grandma struggled with, I'm going to struggle with it. That's not the case. You don't have to struggle anymore.
I love that message of hope. I love it. Let me just tell our listeners, I thank you all for being with us. And I hope that you will hit that subscribe button and that you will leave us some comments and we'll share with you. And I will go ahead and tag you when the post is up so you can respond to people if they have questions as well. And my friends, as always, I am praying for each and every listener that you have the best health and that you live to 90 plus years old, mobile and feeling great and feeling better than you ever have before. So, my friend, I appreciate you coming on, and it is super nice to talk to you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with everybody. And I hope you make some great connections with us.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll keep in touch, and I will let you know when it's all up and uploaded.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Stay blessed, my friend.
You
Bye.
too. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.